call the cops on me. On a mission to be champs since they let me free. Prepare for combat, my adversaries crumble. Face it, I got a reputation for damage. Busters get ready to rumble. They lock me in a cell, have me trapped in a living hell. Though not guilty, I'm still in jail. Brother, I serve my time like a soldier. Maintain composure. My shadow boxing, a fight to the death. Busting boulders. Every boxer with a pair of gloves. Best give up love. Here's a man from the makings of a thug. A lethal weapon, mind sharp. And in my heart, there's a wish to shake the world with the flurry of my black fist. Now once a high school dropout, now I'm the $1 million champ. Who's the next to get knocked out? Straight out of Brooklyn and worldwide.
Okay. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Half of the dynamic duo is here. I'm tired. We both tired, but we got to do, it's a sparring session. This is JP of JP and Angelo's Cheap Seats Boxing Show. Angelo's and JP's Cheap Seats Boxing Show. Check this out. Follow us on all our platforms. You know, iTunes, Amazon, Windows, Stitcher, iPadio, Podomatic, YouTube, so on and so forth. I'm missing stuff. SoundCloud, everything. Now, this is going to be a short sparring session about the Triple G Canelo breakdown. So, sorry we couldn't get a show done this week, folks. I mean, we tried, but we're both beat. I'm going to be perfectly honest, we're both beat right now. It sucks, but that's life. Here's the breakdown. You got a rematch. Normally, I would say, hey, whoever lost the first time probably is going to make adjustments to win the second time. Problem with this is, it was a draw. I think Triple G won. Just my opinion. But here's the thing. I said back then, it looked like they flip-flop styles. It looked like, Triple G wasn't being the Triple G we know, and Canelo wasn't being the Canelo we know. So, this breakdown, and I'm going to predict, my predictions is going to go both ways. I'm going to put it to you like that. This breakdown is going to entail what I've seen recently. First and foremost, I think Canelo's going to have a little ring rust because of the suspension. Because you got to remember, in the meantime, Triple G didn't fight that long, but he had a fight. So I think Canelo will have a little ring rust, but I don't know how much it would affect the fight because Triple G didn't have a long fight in May. It was 2 rounds, 2, 3. It was short. So that is not necessarily a wash, but give a slight advantage to Triple G on that one. As far as styles making fights, I think Canelo's the smarter fighter. I think he has the more tools and more skills. So when it comes to that part of it, if he boxes and counterpunches, yeah, and he's a good counterpuncher and he's a good combination counterpuncher at that. Like he'll get you with a good 2-3, when he counters. So I think he has that edge. As far as power goes, Triple G definitely has the power. That's not a question. I mean, some people might feel like Canelo has power, but you got to take into consideration Canelo only hurts people smaller than him. He doesn't really put down somebody his size or bigger. Except for the case of Kirkland, and that was kind of knew that was coming with no training from Aaron Wolf. You kind of figured, he was in a fight and it was tailor-made to get knocked out at that time. But you don't see him hurting people, putting people down that are his size or bigger. So that's an issue. Triple G. I get weary of a fighter who's like, I feel young as ever. I'm not buying that. Now, can he feel young because he's been primarily a knockout fighter. So does he have the miles that other people have on him? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But he's no spring chicken. So to feel 25, again, no, I'm not buying that. You can feel good though. You know, Canelo being younger, he has that youthful advantage. This is where it gets tricky with Canelo though. Body. He's gotten smaller. His body is not as thick as it was, whether it's the PEDs, change of diet, whatever. So, you know, he was getting acclimated. That staying at 55, but having your first, you know, title at 60 per se, with Triple G, and now he should be acclimated to the weight, but acclimated with what body though? You know, because this new body might be, it could be a gift or it could be a curse. And the reason I say that is leaner, and people could talk about maybe because no PEDs. But here's the question. Can he take the punishment? Is it, you know, and that's the issue, because both fighters, in my opinion, felt like they could take the other fighter's best shot. They didn't feel fazed or hurt by that. So when both fighters say they're going for the knockout, I think they both feel like they can walk through each other's punches. But I have a problem if Canelo actually takes that route, because I can expect Triple G's power to have that edge. Now I guess Canelo's like, well, you can't keep getting hit with these counters and combinations and not start breaking down, which is true. But he's been at that weight. He has his composure. He's fought bigger punchers. That's a problem. And when I mean I mean Triple G. Triple G has fought bigger punchers. But sharpness does matter. Like, sometimes people confuse if somebody is a big puncher, that it's equally as effective if you're a sharp puncher than you are a power puncher. Because, you know, it's the shots you don't see coming, or it's the shots you can't really defend. That those things add up. When they're sharp, they're on point, they're accurate. You know, accuracy means something. But, you know, we shall see in the fight, because with Canelo's new body, as a fan, my concern is his feet. Now Canelo has good enough defense that he can evade punches. But the question is, if he wants to outbox Triple G at this leaner look, is he lighter on his feet? Because if he still has the same feet, this might be a long night, because he's a smaller body with average slow feet, you know. And I wouldn't call him a plotter, but I wouldn't call him quick on his toes either. You know, it's like in between those two. So we got to see. And, you know, the tactics are going to be interesting, because what you saw in the last fight was Triple G basically win or fight off the jab. And you saw Canelo figure out how to get around that and counter and combination punch to get himself back into the mix. Now, you know, I've been very adamant to say, you know, I won't bet against Canelo, because I think he's a smart fighter. He can adjust. This little outburst at the weigh-in bothers me. You already fought him. it's not his fault you got busted for PEDs. So this anger before the fight, and Triple G was cool, like, look, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. You ain't got to worry about, we going to fight. And that bothers me because I don't know, like I said, I told Angelo, I said, I don't know what to make of it because Canelo could very well be one of those people who, when they get angry, they get better. Or he can be one of those people who gets angry and it clouds his judgment. But Angelo was talking about, he said, man, he doesn't really buy into much of it because he feels like maybe he could go Triple G into thinking it's going to be a fight and outbox him. And that could very well be true also. We shall see, though. We shall see. If it wasn't for like that, I wouldn't call it fear, but that says, you might open yourself up too much. So in this fight, I actually think Triple G is gonna win this one, because I take what Canelo did for face value. He wanted that action, and wanting that action with Triple G, I don't think that's a style that he could win at. And that's the issue. That's my issue with it. Because honestly, if he was the same size he was in the beginning, in the last fight, I think he could take those shots. The smaller size, I'm not too sure. And when people say, he's smaller, I wonder what he rehydrates to. Both of them. Because, Canelo normally looked bigger than him in general, even before he was at 160. Now it's like, But I will say, I tell my son this all the time. Bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. So that's what I mean by Canelo being a better boxer. I think he's a better boxer. I just think he's flat out. He has better punch selection, tactics. I think it's hands down. He's better at boxing. But that action makes me think he wants a fight. And I don't think he's better at fighting than Triple G. I think I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. Because we've seen Triple G eat the punches of heavy punches like, yeah, that's it. I got something for you. And that's an issue. That is a big, major issue for me. Like, yo. But I think this is going to be an exciting night for boxing because one way or another, it's going to be fireworks. Because, if Triple G knocks out Canelo, he's no longer the face of boxing. If Canelo knocks out Triple G is probably on to the next opponent, but they won't necessarily make him the face of boxing, which is going to suck, but that's what I think. But he'll be the A side in that division, hands down. So anybody who wants that work, you are immediately the B side. Take that as it is, because technically you would say Triple G beat the man, and Canelo for the pound for pound or pay-per-view spot. But that's the issue with the pay-per-view spot. We don't know if the sales are gonna translate to being pay-per-view king at this particular point. And I think people have more of an affection for Lomachenko, more of an affection for Errol Spence, and maybe more of an affection more affection for Anthony Joshua, definitely, and more of an affection for probably Deontay Wilder because they're heavyweights, and Tyson Fury is in the mix because of their fight. But ultimately, I'm taking Triple G by knockout, maybe in the 6th. If they fight, if they box, Canelo's gonna pick them apart. Like Canelo will pick if Canelo comes in there and boxes, he's gonna pick him apart. You know, but that's the eerie thing about it. You gotta withstand the storm because Triple G has that early, like Sergey Kovalev. The Crusher has power early that it just discombobulates people. And I think Triple G has that too. So if there's a storm in the beginning, he's going to have to weather that storm. And that's a pressure he never really had to face before. So that's why this is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a night. Whoever wins is going to be the man. But I think whoever loses is going to go out on their shield and show the heart of a champion. So with that being said, let's see this fight, folks. So this is where the fighters fight and the fans commentate, and we do it just like that from the cheap seats because we ain't buying no tickets, goddammit. Peace.
Please believe that I'll never be shamed again. Again, I'll be the next heavyweight champion. Call me crazy, but no one can fake me. I'm the product of the projects, lost and crazy. Throw your hands up, Mr. Bruno. Ride, Big Mike Tyson about to brutalize that ass tonight. No hesitation for the whole nation. I'll beat that ass so bad I probably violate probation. Through demonstration as I strategize information. Intent